And Chukwudi Abuja is already seated, cracking me up already before we get on set. Good morning.
Laughter is part of my life.
He's just trying to explain to you that there's a difference between compliments and flattery.
Yes,
so
that's the truth.
Yes.
And if I were a woman, I'm not going to give in to flattery. I'll tell you, you are a liar. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Chukudi. Let's quickly go to the papers and let's see what's trending. I'll begin with the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust newspaper, and below the masthead, civil servants use stolen money to build estates. That's attributed to the EFCC. Details on page 18. Bundungwari motorcycle phone theft replace abduction. Details on page 12. And what to know about new insurance law? Details on page 24. You go there and you find out what's talking about. And at the picture story you see there, the remains of Ghana Air Force helicopter that crashed at Adansi Farm in the Ashanti region of the country yesterday. Such a sad news. And below the picture story, states activate control measures as flood wreaks havoc. Details on page 5. Ghana Defense Environment Minister killed in helicopter crash. Details on page 32. Israel plans full occupation of Gaza as 130 people killed. Details on page 32. Anti-party PDP to take action on Wike next week. Details on page 13. And the headlines, the Daily Trust newspaper, Taraba, 8 months without deputy governor. Details on page 3 and 4. Let me quickly go to the Leadership newspaper now. The Leadership newspaper above the masthead, police detention array over alleged criminal defamation. You find the details on page 7. And below the masthead, NCAA suspends 2 pilots over incident involving KI. Details on page 7. Corrupt politicians being given top government positions. Emir Sanusi. Find the details on page 4. The side piece of the picture story, global competition, our students made us proud, say Yobe parents and school. Details on page 7. Ghanaian minister died in helicopter crash. You find it on page 4. Bauchi local government to ban women, girls from going to farm. You find the details on page 21. And NDIC pays 54.62 billion naira to 691,418 customers of defunct Heritage Bank. Details on page 6. And the headlines in the Leadership newspaper, Jonathan chickened out of reforming PDP. That's coming in a new book. You find the details on page 4, who wrote the book and what the book is talking about. And the picture story you see there is a loss to the journalist profession, Doyin Abiola, 1943 to 2025. A pen of courage stops writing. With writers Tinubu, governors, NPAN, NGE mourn first female editor. Former colleagues in Concord Daily Alake Awoyinfa Adeshino pay tributes. Life and times of Nigeria's media Amazon. Family to bring remains home from China. Find all the details on page 7. Victor.
All right, the blueprint is here, and the sad story from Ghana is also reported here. And just above the nameplate, kidnappers abduct student. 2 others on Shinkai Wukari Road. 13 escape. That story is on page 9. And just below the nameplate, INEC affirms 9 political parties for a Dubai election. LP missing is also on page 9. And in business, NCC unveils tougher governance guidelines for telecom sector. It's on page 20. On page 32, and in sports, home-based Eagles must improve to avoid early exit. That's credited to Eric Shell, the Super Eagles gaffer. And coming down the page, police can't question Anambra AG's power to discontinue criminal matter. That's according to the NBA. And the 2 riders says DPP's detention an affront to Constitution. Ubasani calls for unified legal reform. It's on page 10. And that tiny strip at the bottom reads, Court remands Enugu native doctor for allegedly burying victims alive. That story is on page 7. Let me invite Chukwudi Okolubaja.
Burying victims alive. You invited me on a morbid tone, but it's okay. Life has to go on. I didn't hear you talk about a pen of courage stops writing during Abiola. You did?
She read it.
Sorry,
Did
maybe.
you travel to Mars?
I think I was absorbed in something here.
I did.
And what I was, let's quickly talk about her first. The leadership has the caption during Abiola 1943 to 2025. Good. A pen of courage stops writing. She is to be forever, eternally remembered as the first female editor of a daily newspaper in this country. That's a milestone in the life of a woman, you know? And then she actually eventually sat over the affairs of national concord. What I like more than anything else, all these accolades who I have talked about, was her natural smile.
Yes.
What's in a smile? And I'll tell you there's everything in a smile. There are some people you plead with. Can you please smile a little? On the left at Adams Mark Hotel, Houston, Texas, one elderly American crept up to me by the lip there. Why don't you try a smile? It looks as if you're carrying the world on your shoulders.
Indeed.
It was my first time in the US, and it was so obvious.
It was a JJC.
JJC, my dear. I have to confess. Civil servants use stolen money to build estates. That's coming from the EFCC. We were talking about some filling stations in Abuja the other time, and a friend of mine said, you see these people you think are the owners of the filling stations, many of them are owned by civil servants. Where did they get the money from?
No, this is speculative.
It's speculative. Okay, let's go to real journalism, investigative journalism. Okay, states activate control measures as flood wreaks havoc. And they are talking about Benue, Lagos, Sokoto, Kano, Kebbi, and Gombe states. I think Nasarawa and another state there, they are also working on something. But what we always ask here is it reactive or proactive? Proactive cannot happen in July. It has to be reactive to the flood. Any real measure to check the ravaging flood, you know, floodplains everywhere now, it has to be proactive. We know that, as we keep saying here, the ice is melting and the deluge comes easily because already the landscape is fairly flooded. So a little rain, it takes it to, you know, a deluge. It's really unfortunate, but we must keep on working at, you know, making it better for us because buildings are threatened. Farmlands are actually washed away. It could be the precursor to hunger, you know. So it is very important we work on the floods early enough. Yes. You're throwing up anything from your side? The Taraba State story, you mentioned it, didn't you? Is it the deputy governor?
Yes, deputy governor.
Yes. Now, the thing is this, if the man is ill, then the man is ill. The report is that Al-Haji Aminu Al-Khali was first taken to National Hospital. Couldn't quite work out there, and he got taken to Egypt. First of all, we have to recognize the fact that a fellow man is in dire straits over health, you know, needs. May God restore his health. But you don't create a vacuum. You know, life has to go on. So what does the Constitution say about such a situation? That's what we have to look at. The paper is saying that Taraba is an ethnically complex state. So maybe somebody considers that's the quota coming from them. It has to be they have other sons and daughters, you know, who could do that. But may he get well. and return to the duty post. Very important we say that, please. Nobody knows tomorrow. That's it. You throwing up anything from your side?
Yes, the air crash in Ghana.
Okay.
The defense minister and some other important, top military brass.
Yes.
It's really unfortunate.
It's
There
very
was this lady I met in Salvador, Brazil. I was going to tell her, Sharon, sorry, top people in your army died. It's really unfortunate because everybody is important. But there are some people, when they go, the gap they leave actually yawns. May their souls rest in perfect peace. And again, aviation safety has to be taken to a higher notch in Africa. I want to say that the Nigerian situation has been highly commendable. Ever since my brother, DK, he's from Iselugu, his committee looked into improving aviation. I think that was Obasanjo time. And since then, Nigeria has been having good aviation record, relatively speaking.
Well, not because we haven't had bad, but we haven't had terrible. We haven't had deaths like this.
Look, I covered ADC. I practically swam in the waters, and I saw human parts. Oh, sorry, this is AM television. Let's not go too morbid. We remember Sosoliso. We remember which other one again?
Yes, on that scale.
Yeah, so on that scale, we must recognize the fact that after that committee report, a lot of action was taken. We cannot keep on knocking Nigeria into the doldrums. When we record any progress, let's be honest enough to say that there's a difference compared to yesterday. I've always said, I'm not against journalists criticizing or critiquing rather situations. But when there are signs that some little progress has been made, can we also be honest enough to earn up? I think it's very important.
Right, and just before we let you go,
yes,
I'm looking at the cartoon here. AKU says Shell charges home-based eagles to avoid early exit. And the other parrot there says, I miss presidential Lajis. That's the motivation now. If you have to win it, and then
which motivation? You want me to end on a sarcastic note? See, body where you go waste. Do you know what amount of laurels you would have attracted? This one even.
I'm winning laurels in other areas.
My dear, be good where God has placed you.
Thank you for
I was just bantering.
And I can't wait to see you again tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day, Mr.
Thank you.
All right.
So we'll take a break. When we return, our conversation will begin.